Let's talk about antibiotics. I mean, they're one of the greatest medical discoveries in history, right? These are life-saving drugs that have protected all of us from some really nasty bacterial infections. But what if the very thing that's designed to protect our kids in the short term actually comes with a hidden long-term cost? And that is the huge question we're diving into in this explainer. We're going to look at a landmark scientific investigation that went hunting for links between getting antibiotics early in life and a whole range of surprising health conditions that can show up later. So, here's what got scientists scratching their heads in the first place. For decades, they noticed this really strange pattern. As deadly bacterial infections went down, thanks in large part to antibiotics, these chronic immune-related conditions, things like asthma and allergies, they just skyrocketed. So the big question was, are these two trends connected? To find out, researchers launched an absolutely epic investigation. And when I say epic, I am not kidding. This wasn't just another study. We are talking about an investigation on a scale that's almost hard to wrap your head around, starting with just how they pulled all their evidence together. The source for this explainer is what scientists call a meta-analysis. Now, if that sounds complicated, don't worry. It's actually a pretty cool concept. Think of it like this. If a single study is a detective looking at one crime scene, a meta-analysis is like a super detective who gathers up all the evidence from 160 different crime scenes. They're looking for that one big pattern that no single detective could ever spot on their own. It is one of the most powerful tools we have in medical research. So just how big are we talking? Well, get this. The researchers combined studies that included the health records of over 22 million children. To put that into perspective, that's more than the entire population of the state of Florida. It's just a staggering mountain of data. And from that massive pool of kids, the research team then carefully analyzed all the findings from 160 separate, high-quality studies from all over the world. And they cast a really wide net, too. They weren't just looking for one thing. They were searching for any potential links between antibiotic use and 21 different long-term health issues. So after all that digging, what did they actually find? All right, this is where it gets really interesting. Once they started sifting through all that data, some very clear and honestly pretty surprising patterns began to emerge. Okay, now this chart might look a little intimidating at first, but it's basically the smoking gun. It's called a forest plot, and all you really need to know is this. See that solid vertical line right down the middle? That line represents no effect. Now, each dot you see is the result for a specific health condition. If that dot lands to the right of the line, it means the study found an increased risk. And well, as you can probably see, there are a lot of dots on the right side of that line. The absolute strongest link they found was with allergic conditions. Kids who were exposed to antibiotics had 96% increased odds of developing asthma later. I mean, that's nearly double the risk. And the list goes on. A huge jump in the odds for wheezing, hay fever, food allergies, and eczema. For any parent who's dealt with these issues, these numbers are pretty striking. And it wasn't just about allergies. The study also flagged a connection to weight and metabolism. They found that antibiotic use was linked to a 21% increase in the odds of obesity and an 18% increase for being overweight or having increased weight gain. The connections kept coming. The analysis also showed a link to other immune-related conditions, like a 75% bump in the odds of psoriasis and a 74% increase for juvenile idiopathic arthritis. But, and this is super important, they didn't find links everywhere they looked. Right. To get the full, honest picture, we have to talk about what the study didn't find. This is just as crucial for understanding what's going on and, frankly, for avoiding any unnecessary panic. And this slide lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got those conditions with strong, clear links. But look at the right. The study found no clear, measurable link to conditions like ADHD, type 1 diabetes, celiac disease, or inflammatory bowel disease. This is a really critical finding because it tells us the effect isn't just random. There's likely something very specific happening here. So, what are we supposed to do with all this information? How should we really interpret these powerful and kind of scary findings? This brings us to the verdict. Okay, if you remember one single thing from this, let it be this. The study found a strong association or a link. It does not prove causation. That is a massive distinction in science. It means that, yes, antibiotic use in these conditions are clearly connected, but we can't be 100% sure that the antibiotics themselves are the direct cause. There could be other factors involved. For example, maybe it's the underlying infection that required the antibiotics in the first place that's playing a role. So, what's the leading theory for why this connection exists? Well, it's related to something called the hygiene hypothesis. The idea is that our gut is filled with trillions of good bacteria, our microbiome, and these little guys are absolutely essential for training our immune system when we're very young. Broad-spectrum antibiotics, while great at killing bad bacteria, can also be like a bomb for the good bacteria, wiping them out too. This could disrupt that crucial immune system training, leaving it more prone to overreacting later in life, which can lead to things like allergies or autoimmune issues. And this brings us right to the study author's own conclusion. They state it very clearly. The goal is not to stop using these life-saving drugs. Not at all. The message is all about antibiotic stewardship, which is just a commitment to using antibiotics only when they are truly necessary. That means avoiding them for viral infections where they have zero effect and choosing the right drug for the right bacteria. It's all about being wise and meticulous. So what does this all boil down to for you? Well, it leaves us with one simple, powerful question that every parent or caregiver can ask their doctor. Is this antibiotic absolutely necessary? Now, sometimes the answer will be a resounding yes, but just asking that question opens up a crucial conversation about whether watchful waiting is an option, or if the illness is likely just viral. It's a simple step that empowers you to be a steward of your child's health, both for today and for the long run.